Hey guys, it's Turok. I hope this audio works good. I'm testing my mic back in a vertical position, trying to get less echoing from my audio. So today I'm doing a video about, I want to examine the other satellites of Vegapunks in here, because I feel like there's a traitor among them. I think, yeah, I briefly went over this in my my video I did the other day, to where I spent the majority of this video. It was a post 1074 One Piece video, and I was trying to figure out whether I was talking about mostly about big news Morgans in that one, but I had briefly talked about this topic that we're going to go over today, and that there's 2 points of interest here that made the impetus of why I'm going to do this video today. And then one has happened in the last video, chapter 1074, and that is, it appears that Pythagoras was taken out while he was searching along they're in the I know it has another name. I'm calling it the upper lab, the punk records area, I think. The Pythagoras was out alone they are looking for Vegapunk, and he's gone missing after we saw him last with Bonnie, where she found the room with Kuma's memory bubble. Now he's gone missing, and they're forming search parties. So the satellites have started out on their own doing this, Pythagoras particularly, and so he seems to have got sniped in some way. And I'm looking at the other incident that made me as impetus of this video is that in chapter 1071, I think, when Cypher Pole Zero was trying to figure out how to get into the upper lab, because they knew they found out about the defenses the hard way, because Stussy was playing around with them, and Kaku got lasered down. Someone brought down the defenses and allowed Cypher Pole Zero to get up there. And I suspect this person, if it is one of the satellites, didn't even know Stussy was one of the allied legions to Vegapunk himself. So what I'm getting at here, I suspect what's going on here. My theory here is that somebody here is helping either for their own goals or for the world government to try to take out the other satellites and Vegapunk himself for their own self-interests, or to help the world government in some way, maybe to work for the world government on their own. Because as we've seen here, the Vegapunk satellites are different in their mentalities. They're different aspects of Vegapunk. I'm going to pull them up here again when he shows them. Bear with me. I'll pause this there. So he split them up, so the reason for splitting them up was to help with his ability to accomplish more of the work he's trying to get done. He has many ideas, and the workload of doing this himself is too much, that he created these 6. Well, I think they're supposed to all be androids. I was calling them clones before, but we saw with Atlas, when she got attacked by Lucci, about 1069 or whatever chapter that is here, that I can't reference all the chapters. Anyways, she was attacked and her eye was destroyed. Her face was kind of charred off, and this last chapter, we saw that she got repaired once they were, Jinbei and Chopper were able to get her out of there and bring her to the upper lab. So anyways, he made these made these 6 to help him. And what I want to get at is they each represent these different aspects of him. See, and even since their dispositions and responsibilities are so different, the wealth of their experience is much greater. So anyways, the different workloads they seem to do, there's some specific duties you'll see among these guys here. You got one named York. She's got a specific job where she is eating for everyone else, doing you're relieving yourself both ways, and then just sleeping it off. She's doing all that the human the needs for them, so the others. So somehow, even though they're supposed to be like androids or cyborgs, one of them still has to consume food and could be allowed to be provide for that the others. How do you say it? I'm trying to do those things so that the others can keep working. Especially I think it was Edison and Pythagoras. We see them working in the lab later. Anyways, and then there's and so she's called Desire, and then we have Wisdom, Pythagoras, and you have Edison who's called Flare. But we see that they do a lot of work in the lab. Doing a lot of like one of them is one that comes up with lots of ideas. I'll come up find them. Oh, I forget which one it was now. And there's Logic, whose name is Shaka, and him, Edison, and Pythagoras, by the way, all wear some kind of helmets. And with Shaka, we can't even see his eye. It's almost like it looks like a visor with Shaka with the number 1 on. They each got numbers, by the way. And then Atlas also is does work in another lab, and because she introduced the others to stuff about light creatures. And lastly, there was Lilith, who does patrolling around the island actually, and doesn't seem to do any lab work. And patrolling with these other what do they call them? They had some kind of sea animal creatures, robot things, and she was in a giant mech suit. And she's defending the island, and they capture pirates apparently, and then tried to she tried to have a fight it out with the Straw Hats, and Shaka stopped her. So I wanted to lay this all out because I want to look at these guys in turn and some of the actions they've done, and try to think about one of them, my suspicions of ones that might be a traitor among his satellites. Because we see that, how to say, so Vegapunk himself seems like a very nice guy who wants to do all kinds of great things for the world. He wants to provide energy, and he wants to share his wealth and knowledge. Now, we saw that because the way he has made these satellites, they all act very differently. We got Atlas, who's very hot-headed, acts like a child and looks like a child, although she's the size of Kaido of Big Mom. And then we have Shaka, who's called Logic, and acts very calm, and he's the one who takes charge among them. I already explained York in detail, so I'll pass that one. Lilith says she's evil, and her title is she's evil. And they named her after Lilith the demon, who's supposed to be a demon and or the first wife of Adam. And Edison and Pythagoras, well, let's find a work where they showed them again. So let's go back. Hold on. So it's Edison here that seems to come up with lots of ideas. And we see that him and Pythagoras seem to work closely in hand. And also working with the Seraphims and probably the other, I'm assuming the other pacifistas. And we see that Pythagoras there was when the Straw Hats were fighting the Jinbeis. So S-Shark, they call him. Jinbei's Seraphim, that he was taking a lot of battle data down to help improve that. Oh yeah, and then they show here, yes, that when Edison's writing notes, York was taking eating for him, and somehow sharing the energy gained from the sustenance to him. So just looking at these guys, they overall seem very innocuous in a sense, that they're all there doing what Vegapunk, helping Vegapunk, Stella, do what to continue his research. So the first obvious suspect I have is Lilith, and I said so in the chapter, not the chapter review, my post-chapter thoughts. because she's the one who's considered evil. So now I'm looking at her and thinking about, okay, is first of all, evil people. She's meaning to me. She doesn't really. Evil characters often don't care about others. They're self-centered to a fault. If they're self-centered, in turn of that, they want to have the praise and prestige of whatever they're trying to accomplish. And in this case, Lilith is still a Vegapunk's clone, so she's still a genius. So I'm looking at this stuff, and I'm thinking about her, and then we see she has a poor relationship with Shaka, and is rather hot-headed with him, and looks like she almost wants to kill him. So my first thought in my other video was like, okay, she could be the one trying to kill everyone, because she wants to. She'll be the one who will want to just kill off everyone else and have her work for the government. Or actually, given that she's evil, that might not be the case. With her, I'm going to say she probably doesn't want to work for government, wants to do things herself. So she would probably kill the other ones and escape under the fire of everything else that's happening, because she's probably getting sick of working for Vegapunk for all these years and sick of dealing with her other clones, or you know what I mean, the other ones, and is ready to go out on her own, because she's probably feeling overshadowed by the other ones to go out there and do work herself, because she's essentially Vegapunk, so she's genius, but I'm kind of seeing with these clones, they're all kind of acting their own way, so they're all technically their own person of Vegapunk now. They're really not him anymore. I'm starting to think they've been around so long that they are really just their own individuals that just have the name Vegapunk. And I have a feeling that all of them in turn really are becoming their own identity, and probably would someday not want to be called Vegapunk, but keep the names they have and say, this is my identity. I'm technically a child of Vegapunk. But so the next thing that made me suspicious of Lilith in particular is in the last chapter, when things were start going crazy here with Sentomaru's out in the bottom area trying to calm down fight the cipher poles. So really that's not of concern what's happening up in the upper lab. In the upper lab though, the Seraphim caused a lot of chaos and destroyed the main lab building there, and knocked out a lot of Den Mushis, which was very fortunate for the events that are happening. And in this last chapter, to the best of my ability, I kept looking around in it. I did not see Lilith in here at all. I'm going to check this full page panel again. There's Stussy and Chopper, Jinbei, Shaka, Usopp, Brooke, Atlas, York is there, Frankie, Robin, Nami, Edison. Even got the other Cypher Paul agents. We got Kaku and even Lucci there. So all these other ones are here. And then they start their... So now they're also, with these Den Mushis out, they're trying to find Vegapunk now, because he got chased away by Bonnie. So while this is happening here, this is when we see Pythagoras walking off by himself, because supposedly it's safe now, because they took out the cipher poles. One of them turned out to be their ally, and the Seraphim are under the control, but he got snuffed by someone, possibly. Maybe he's okay. But Lilith is nowhere to be seen here. So this is just, I guess I'm kind of reaching here, but at this point, she's suspect number one for me. So that's where I'm leaving that. She's suspect number one because I think with her kind of temperament and possibility of her being being a evil version of Vegapunk, would want to go out on her own and would want to just not be under his shadow anymore. Not working for the world government, as I said. So, suspect number 2, I'm going to go actually with Shaka. He's the most mysterious one of these, of the satellites so far. He seems and his is, what was it again? Logic, right? Let's go back and check. So Logic, to me, what I'm looking at with Logic, and he's the one I'm looking at as a possibility of being a, one who would do this for the world government. Got a cat here. So he shows up, who looks like he's been our ally all along. Looks like he's been our ally all along, but this is part of what makes me kind of suspicious of him, because it's almost too easy how much information he's been giving us, and he's been. I was starting to think that maybe he's just kind of doing this stuff to stall for time. That somehow he would have that he'd have connections with the world government, and because he, this is again looking at them, him and Shaka, or she or he, I would say he for now, because we don't know. Say he, again, is acting as an individual, and with his logic, I have my intuition of, interpretation, I guess, of how he would be thinking, is that he has looked at the situation that he is in as one of Vegapunk's satellites, and the danger of being part of ensnared now because Vegapunk has all this knowledge of Hara and may want to get out and escape to survive from the world government. Or maybe, in this case, he did a deal with them. So he's telling the Straw Hats this stuff in turn too, so that when CP0 comes, and maybe even Kizaru comes, he's got them there ready to hand on a silver platter. And he can also, as far as further evidence of possibility of this, in chapter 1071 here, when where is it? Where the stratum, the defenses for the lab are locked down, Shaka, as far as I could tell, has been the one who's been there the whole time, by the controls, where they would be the best place possible to take down the upper lab's defenses. Now, where do we have that here? Yes, and let's see, right here. Wait, they're in the control. Although it's funny here, I guess I could be partially wrong on that, because they mentioned when the upper lab's defenses go down, they're in some other room here, and then they talk about the no, maybe not. It's funny here, yeah. Though, so when they go down, they show they're in this one control area. Yeah, they're in this one room where that's supposedly not the main control room, but there's all kinds of stuff around, other controls around, and my thoughts are that he may have, if Logic did this, he may have just rerouted the main controls there without anyone knowing, so that he can then just could turn it off from there without anyone realizing that it can't be, the other satellites would still think it has to be done from the main control room, wherever that exactly was before. And, or he could just have some kind of pocket control, I would think that might be tuned to turning that off, and then he turned it back on later. Which I think is that by turning it back on, if I remember correctly in the last chapter, now they're locked in there. Yeah, they lost control of Frontier. He claims they lost control of the Frontier Dome to them. But what if he's just lying? Oh, and this applies to Lilith too. If Lilith rerouted everything, maybe, no, not this line. Lilith in that case would be maybe she locked it down, and then he just doesn't realize how to get through it to it. If Shaka did it though, he may just be lying here about being able to not get through to it, because who else would have been able to, could he not see there through the computer like that, who created the passwords to, say like passwords, yeah, I'm thinking like computers, because usually there's like an administrator of like a systems. So I feel like Shaka looks like he'd be the one who would be the main administrator of this. So why wouldn't he have the ability also to even see who locked things out through this? Of course, these computers don't look like they allow you to go into control panel like Windows and do that. Also, a note too with any of these guys is that if they have the control over the Seraphim there, maybe that's how the Seraphim is what took out Pythagoras there. What if they can still relay some kind of control? No, actually, no, never mind. That one doesn't work because you have to do it in person. But then that still could be Lilith, because if Lilith isn't there, she could be she could have gone up to one of the Seraphim just now and told them where to go over and shoot down Pythagoras. So what else? I feel like I forgot something else with Shaka. Oh yes, with Shaka, there was one other thing with Shaka that bothered me too. Going back to a chapter, it was an early chapter when we saw something with Dragon. I'm starting to wonder if that wasn't really Shaka talking with Dragon, but Shaka overheard something between Dragon and the actual Vegapunk, and now he's overheard something that has made him decide to turn on them. Because it shows him here, let's find the chapter. Chapter 1064. At the beginning, let's see, that's where they're fighting with, yeah. I was thinking that Shaka may have been hearing a message here. Although text bubbles look like he actually is talking to Dragon. Wait, I wonder if he would be trying to mislead Dragon into something into telling him something so that he plays something. So yeah, Shaka is my second suspicion here, because he just seems a little, the way he's such a calm character, it's often like a character like that who's the most suspicious too, because you think, oh, okay, they're calm, they're collected, they're doing the right things to be on our side, but also, again, it seems like a ploy where he's just doing that to help, and for his to distract everyone. And his reasons I'm thinking about for doing this is, again, for his own self-interest, to help himself. Maybe he wants to work for the government and wants to also not be under the shadow of Vegapunk, but in this case, he's not really, so he's unlike Lilith. I'm thinking of him as the opposite of Lilith. Also, given him and Lilith can't stand each other, it appears. He's always trying to keep her in line, and she can't stand that. So I'm looking at him as someone who does want to help the work for the government and continue this kind of work and not be snuffed out because he's worried about how he knows too much stuff from the world government. Maybe he's hoping he has some kind of leverage that'll allow them to keep him alive. So that's Shaka. And my other one would actually be, it's loosely speaking, I'm thinking of Atlas a bit, and I was wondering if Atlas had just not faked her injury, but she got injured by, hold on, Pinky, come on, hey, she got injured by Lucci, and ever since she's been out, she actually could have been trying to play this game, play her hand in trying to survive here from, try to, I don't know how to say this, survive again, and the fact that she's been out for so long would just make her also someone where we don't see her actions, and we would just assume she is out of the picture, but maybe she really isn't. Now her motivations to me would be a little harder for me to construe. Not construe. I'm trying to, like, given that she is angry, I'm just wondering if she's got some kind of grudge against Vegapunk, maybe for her creation, or for what she has, something with her, what he's done there. And so that I can see her trying to maybe, oh, there we go. Perhaps for her being angry with him, maybe she wants to have everyone destroyed, including herself, because she doesn't like her existence, because they're all kind of slaves to Vegapunk. They're forced to work for him and to help continue his own work. And if they all seem to have a certain level of sentience, I can see her being the one, or one of them. I'm suggesting her, of course, being one where she is. I'm trying to get my thoughts together. Bear with me. She's sick of this because of her having his intelligence, having her own sentience now, and looking at herself as like, I'm stuck as this child. I'm sick of the Vegapunk. I'm sick of the other Vegapunks and having to work with them and having to deal with this no, that's reaching a bit. How do I put that together? So she's just angry with him for her existence, basically, and she just wants to end it all. So she's probably working to do the same stuff I said, to have in this case, her actions would be after she's attacked Cypher Pole and been knocked out, she is now she brought down the stratosphere, or whatever it is, that defense for the upper lab. She's actually, you know what, too? What if a couple of them are working together? Because now I'm looking at, she's just sitting there in the lab, though, now repaired, but Lilith is missing. What if a couple of them, like her and Lilith, or even Lilith and Shaka, are working together to destroy the lab and the Vegapunk? There's entirely possible they could have two of them working together, or one going together. Like Lilith, I see you're very angry. You want to branch out on yourself, and you asked Vegapunk, and he said no. How about we just get rid of him and the other satellites, and then we can leave together and do our own mad scientist type of partnership. I could see Shaka and Lilith actually doing like that. Maybe they're just playing. They're just not. Maybe they don't hate each other as much as we think, and that's part of the gig of them doing that, so we don't get suspicious of them. Or in turn, Lilith would want to use Atlas to say, hey, I know you're angry with Vegapunk for creating us. I'm angry with him too because I want to go out there and do my own work. Let's destroy him and go out on our own, and then I'll end you. We'll help you destroy. Oh, actually, if she did it that way, she'd say, well, let's get rid of everyone, and I agree with you. Let's end ourselves. But then Lilith would backstab Atlas at the last moment because she wouldn't actually want to. I'm suggesting, yeah, of course, like not really suicide, but what if the machines, it's self-destructing themselves or something. But Lilith wouldn't want that and would backstab or turn on Atlas because she's like, no, I really want to go out there on my own. So Atlas could be playing along, and two with Lilith to somehow them working together to turn on the others. So that's three suspects. My third suspect. Loosely speaking, York would be my next one, but simply because she's out of the picture a lot too. And she's like, we think she's sleeping all the time, but what if she's there just doing it somehow, being manipulated? I'm guessing with her to do something. I don't have as many motivations with her. I'm just looking at her as being out of the picture. So part of the thing too is I'm trying not to not overturn any stone, no turn over on whatever that how that metaphor goes. And I'm trying to look at all of them, but now I'm at the point where these are the last ones. I'm not really sure. I don't believe them as much as the first three I mentioned: Atlas, Lilith, and Shaka. But York is the one here who. we've seen the less of. We know she's just out there eating, and her sustenance, the sustenance she's getting from her body is being shared with the others somehow so that they can continue working. But what if she's somehow being manipulated to help out maybe the world government, or someone else is manipulating her to do this to help get rid of Vegapunk? Lastly, I'm looking at Edison and Pythagoras. Well, Pythagoras is the one that looks like he might be gone. These two, feel very unlikely would have. Even looking back at this before Pythagoras was apparently destroyed. I'm looking at the two of them, and they look like they'd be the most loyal to Vegapunk. That they'd want to just simply work for him, and not simply work for him. That they have no problems working for him. The one there, the Edison, he has fun just creating up the ideas. He's that part of Vegapunk that has all these ideas, and he likes just doing that, writing them all down. And Pythagoras, even more so, looks like a very loyal, not quite a lapdog, but he's just there collecting battle data and having with the seraphims, and they're how do I put it? Have no animosity toward Vegapunk. Vegapunk, the way I could imagine some of the other three I first mentioned. So that's about what I have there. Is that with that? So with with Edison, I guess I could say too. Edison, if he has all these ideas and he's worried he's not going to get any true. What's the word I'm looking for? Again, he's either be overshadowed by the Stella. If he's actually come up with the ideas and he thinks of himself as the he's sentient and independent and wants his own agency. That's the key thing I was trying to get with the others, agency. And they feel like they don't have it. And he may want to get rid of Vegapunk too and the others so that he can continue working with these ideas and helping the world. Maybe he sees himself as a younger, because he's almost like a separate younger version of Vegapunk. He's like, I'll do better than Vegapunk ever was, even though I'm the same person, essentially. Yeah, Pythagoras, it's really hard for me to see Pythagoras as a... There just hasn't been much shown with him, except that he was taking battle data for the seraphims, that he's... I can't recall if he did much else here. Let me go look through this a sec. A lot of the other stuff they just keep showing with Pythagoras is him reporting stuff. He talks to CP0, tells him... He's the one who first relays a message to try and scare him off. Not scare them off, send them on their way and hope that they wouldn't come on the island. And he radios contacts with them through the Denden Mushies. And then it's showing him, I think as the one who's usually just looking at, keeping an eye on other activities and reporting them to Shaka and the others. Come on. Oh, look, there was Atlas. So... So that's about it, I guess. As far as that's what I have so far. I came up with on how my suspicions among the seraphim, the satellites of Vegapunk, and who might be suspicious, who I think is the most suspicious. So it comes down really to the three: Lilith, Shaka, and Atlas. Atlas being very weakest one of those three, but still possible to me as the ones who could work together or work independently to try to undermine Vegapunk and try to help either for their own ends or for the government to have what's happening now. Now, because look what they're trapped in there now, apparently, and we got Kizaru and a fleet on the way. I think they mentioned they knew there's might be reinforcements, so they know they got to get out of there. By the way, what does this mean for them and if they have to get out of there? Are they just going to leave CP0 behind? Or they take them with them? I guess we'll find out tomorrow in tomorrow's chapter. So, thanks for watching.